how to mix colours using acrylic paint. So we're going to start off with yellow, red and blue, which are the primary colours, and use these to mix other colours. So I'm just putting it straight onto my sketchbook, but you can use a palette if you like. And the idea of this is that these three colours can mix into all kinds of colours. So we've got a medium yellow. There's so many different brands of paint that you can be using. Like different brands of acrylic have different thicknesses and different shades of that yellow. But that medium yellow here. And then we've got a brilliant red to mix up. So one thing that I like about acrylic paint is that it's water based, and that means that it's really practical, easy to clean up, dries really quickly as well. And part of this is that you can paint with different brush strokes and marks, which I'll show you a bit later on in another video, but there might be a little bit of that in today. Giving my brush a bit of a clean and then go on to the ultramarine blue. So the idea is that we're going to be mixing these primary colours into secondary colours, using just two colours to make a new colour. So if we were to put a bit of this red in with the blue and add those and make those together, mix that in, we're going to be getting a purple. So depending on how much you include, how much you use, will determine whether it's a bluey purple or a reddy purple. So just in a nutshell, so there's so many variables that you can add. We can add a little bit more blue, for instance, at this side, and you can maybe see straight away, we can see a difference. I can see it, but I don't know how easy it is to see on the camera. Then what we've got, we'll carry on with this blue and use a little bit of the yellow. So a little bit of blue and some yellow. So I would suggest when you're mixing colours to just mix a small amount at a time. So for this particular picture, that could be too much. It might not be needed to have so much thickness, but I actually quite like painting with a lot of textural paint, so having a level of thickness. So you can have like that. I've got quite a lot of blue in that, so it is a darker shade of green. So if you were to add a little bit more yellow, as I said before, you can mix this into a paint palette if you wanted to, but that's going to get more of a lime green, for instance. So blue and yellow make green. Then bringing the yellow into this side with a little bit of red to, as you guessed, create an orange, a lovely shade of orange. So I'm making this into a petal, as you can see. I'm going to add a little bit more yellow into that because red is quite a lot darker than yellow, as you know. Like, it stands out really bright. Mix those colours up. And I think doing something like a flower like this is a really good way to practice and to experiment with colour mixing, because actually not only are you having a go, you're experimenting and trying it out, but you can also create something in the end and feel that you've got a piece of art from it. So something that might be quite nice to do is bring the colours all together into the middle. So I clean my brush again to get that red into the middle, and then maybe have like a little dot in the middle or something, perhaps when it's dried. And another option you can do is to bring some things on the outside. We've got quite a lot of water in here, so that will affect the texture and affect, like, the different brush strokes will affect how it looks. So we can spread that water out so that it feels a bit more even, and keep cleaning your brush to get that fresh colour, especially when you are using a singular primary colours. Something that I would recommend is that if you are, say, using yellow in your painting and you want yellow, rather than using the yellow paint straight from the pot like that, mix it with something else, maybe just a tiny bit of red or a tiny bit of blue. Or if you've got two different shades of yellow, you can mix those together as well. We could maybe add some white in as well, so that you can have a lighter shade of those colours. Can be really lovely to just add white on the side, just add a bit of white on the edges, or add a bit of black to make it darker as well. So if you wanted to make some tertiary colours, the primary colours, secondary colours and tertiary colours, then carry on mixing. So you could mix a purple and an orange together, or you can mix the green with purple, and depending on the amount of each of the colours you use, you will end up with sort of like varying shades of greys and browns. And I remember learning this when I was at art college, doing a whole thing about colour mixing and mixing as many browns as possible, as many different shades of grey as possible. And it's actually quite a good fun exercise. I say exercise because it's just maybe creating something to experiment and to keep working on and practicing. So there we go. In just a few minutes, we've got a short explanation about colour mixing. So I hope that you found it useful. You can do this same activity in any kind of way. If you wanted to use other materials to demonstrate this, the same sort of thing can be applied with watercolours, or you could use pastels as well and smudge the colours together. And it's just a really good way of helping you to do something in terms of colour mixing, because if you are familiar with colour mixing, you can express yourself more fully. Thanks for watching, and bye.